Okay, well, welcome everyone to another video review. This one I have the tripod basically set so far back you can pretty much see the entire dining room table behind me, but it's kind of necessary so to give you kind of an idea of how truly huge this Lego set is. So what am I talking about? Obviously this is the Saturn V, the Apollo 11, which landed on the moon, took Neil Armstrong and his crew to the moon. This was a Lego idea set released, I think, almost a year ago. Okay, it has 1,969 pieces, which is a little clever homage by Lego to the date, the year in which the moon mission was carried out, and so this is sort of their representation of that. When it was first released, they really underestimated the demand for the set. It basically sold out instantly, online in the stores, and was back ordered for literally months. And the set would just kind of trickle in little by little, to the stores. I managed to get this actually about a month, after it came out, when the stock was very low. I grabbed one of the last units, and idea sets is a Lego sub-program where it basically, adult fans of Lego who are very good at designing, they put forth their ideas, and if it gets enough support, then Lego actually, takes it into consideration. They modify a little bit and they release it actually as a product. And this is I think this is the largest Lego idea set ever released. So what can I say about this? Well, usually when I review or talk about Legos while you're looking at this, I guess I'll go into sort of, for now, just my impressions of it. The thing that you have to look at is the amazing engineering of this Lego set, in the sense that the first thing that strikes you is what just a magnificent job they did replicating the rocket. It's huge, it's long. I honestly think, I did some research when I first bought this. This might be like 1 inch off of the Eiffel Tower. And I do have a video of the Eiffel Tower on my channel way back. You can take a look at that. This is essentially the same size, maybe 1 inch or 2 off. And that would make it essentially the longest, the tallest Lego Lego set ever made. But it's very, very narrow. It's very elegant. It's very aerodynamic, so to speak. And one of the amazing things that the designer did is that he created basically a cylindrical rocket. I mean, it's accurate to the real thing. And that is almost an impossibility, because understand that as advanced as Lego is, they're still Lego bricks, they're still Lego plates, and they are not very good at creating smooth surfaces and not very good at creating circular surfaces. So this is just an amazing, mind-boggling achievement in Lego design to be able to do it. And you look at this rocket ship and you think to yourself, how in the world can this ship require 1,969 pieces? Which 2,000 pieces is a lot of pieces, but you'll understand it if you ever take the time to buy this set and to build it, because the engineering on the inside, the core of the inside of the ship, with which you attach the smooth skin, is a marvel. And there's quite a lot of actually technic build components to make this happen. So number one, just sort of the accuracy, the colors, just how beautiful this ship looks. Very pleased by that. And again, the amazement of seeing Lego actually be able to conquer the dilemma, the problem of having a complete tower, smooth surface. This was a problem also with the Walt Disney castle, which has the spires, or any type of castle really. with cylindrical towers and spires, and it's kind of interesting to see how they solve the problem in those builds, but when the entire build is one big cylinder, that is kind of the challenge. So, pretty gratifying to see that. The ship actually comes apart. So I'll stand. The ship actually comes apart in pieces. I'm not going to take it apart mainly because you have to snap it off, and it's not the easiest thing to snap back on again. But it is accurate even to the stages where it's launching into space and slowly going stage 1, stage 2, and different parts of it coming down. So even accurate to that. Okay. So it comes with basically the rocket ship, and then once I do some of the close-up views, I'll show you some of these guys. It comes with the lunar landing robot, as well as sort of this escape pod or hatch that landed in the ocean when it re-enters the Earth. So certainly, a great ship to look at. You can't play with it really, other than maybe putting it through the stages and all that sort of stuff. There's, I think, also a little version of this robot in the head of it as well. But it's a display model and a very nice one. I think there is a way to display it either lying down or standing straight up. I think they do actually give you a build where you can put some brackets. But for something this tall, really the only, in my opinion, realistic way to display it is to do it like this, straight up. It's very sturdily built, and what I mean by that is you can grab it and you can literally go like this. You can move it around, you can carry it. This is not the sort of build that's going to fall apart on you. Again, it's beautifully designed, very, very well put together. You can see that you can move back and forth, turn it around. It's not something that falls apart in your hands. Very, very well put together. So there you have it. And you can, again, get an appreciation for the size of this thing now, sideways versus upright. In terms of actually building it, another thing that's very impressive is that they really, again, Lego really went all out for this set. Every single piece, you see the United States, the American flag right here, USA. Every single one of these Lego pieces are printed, so no stickers at all. And it's been a while since I've done a set where there's literally no stickers. Usually there's always one sticker, but no, in this piece and in this set, there's no stickers at all. As for the process of building it, I would say that it was, moderately challenging. Again, it seems simple when you look at it. It's just a nice smooth rocket, but in reality, it's quite a bit of engineering, quite a bit of design, ingenuity to achieve this end result. And so it's a bit of a joy to build, to sort of kind of get an appreciation for how these problems were solved in the design phase. It does take a lot of concentration. It does take a little bit of fiddling, and it's very, very precise. Again, it's like the Millennium Falcon, for instance, is what comes to mind. They're all one stud specific. If you're off by one stud, it's not going to come together correctly. It's not going to come together right. It's very symmetrical, which is an advantage, but it can also sort of make your eyes go crossed because everything is being repeated again and again. And if you lose focus for just a little bit, you can make a fatal error and then it won't come together. So it's definitely something that I think is appropriate for more experienced builders. But the build itself, was pretty fun, and it was nice to kind of see it to come together and do it. But it does require a lot out of you. So I'm being kind of turning this around. So I'm going to sort of reposition this, and then I am going to pick up the camera and sort of go into the next section and show some close-ups and some of the detail and things like that. So here we go, next section coming up. Okay, so here's the next section. I'm gonna do some close-ups. As you can see, it's so tall that, I mean, just like completely ridiculous. It's even above the backdrop here. But we'll start with the sort of the mini builds. So as you can see, this here is the lunar landing robot, you know, and these are the little astronauts. This is micro scale. So you can imagine minifigure scale, this rocket would just be insane. It would be like, 10 feet tall and 2 or 3 feet wide. But put here at the base of the rocket, you kind of get an idea for how tiny the astronauts are. Kind of where they, where they stand, and how tall they are relative to the size of the ship. So, this is pretty neat. It's a nice little mini build that kind of, again, gives you a little bit more detail of what's going on at the lunar surface. And you have the really cool astronauts, nice printed pieces. You have the American flag, the clear transparent block, pretty clever utilization of that. So there you go. That's the lunar landing. And of course, when they re-enter back into Earth, this is sort of the jettison pod. These are the balloons, or that's meant to be the balloons. And then the flotation device, of course. And then this is meant to be the blue sea. So again, kind of a nice touch. And again, everything is painted. I mean, not painted, everything's printed. So this is just a very nice touch. So those are the two sort of accents to the main piece. So here you go. You start off with the legs, so to speak, the thrusters. And boy, the interior of this is really tight. I mean, you have to be very precise with how you put those bricks together. And the instructions were just a little bit, I don't know, I want to say it's a little bit weird in that area. Usually Lego instructions are perfect, but there was a little bit of confusion around kind of putting the legs together, at least for me. So I spent quite a bit of time sort of doing that part. I kind of messed up there a little bit, but I figured it out. But we're talking about the interior of this area with these little tiny, I don't even know what you call these things, like little legs and the way they're supposed to bend. That can create a little bit of problems. And over here, of course, you have USA, you have the fins, all of the grates. Okay, I'm just gonna sort of take my time spinning this around. As you can see at this stage, it becomes very, very symmetrical. So then moving on up, here's the US flag. You do this section by section, and you can take it apart section by section. It looks a little bit boring here because again, all you're seeing is the nice, smooth, cylindrical outer part, and you don't get to see all of the Technic builds on the inside that makes this possible, and that creates an area or a scaffold for all these smooth bricks to be placed. And then all the way at the very top, I believe this is actually right here where you separate off, and then the other one I believe is right here where this thing takes off as well. So it's like, you separate here and you separate here, and at the very, very top, you see some of the Lego elements that are used to create the very tip, and then that's it right here. So there you go. Lego ideas, unlike other Lego sets, they don't make a lot of them. Some sets they just make thousands. The idea behind this, of course, is they'll keep making them as long as you keep buying them. And so for very popular sets, for instance, like the Star Wars Death Star, for instance, they're just essentially an open edition because it's so popular. It's a very big sort of toy gift, for big gifts for Christmas or birthdays. So they just keep making them really, until they start not selling, and then they'll retire them at that point. But for idea sets, Lego has never ever actually made that many idea sets. And so I think if you had a chance to grab this, it's a really cool historical, collectible in a sense. It's a great build, very, very enjoyable. And it's going to be pretty rare. I don't trust Lego to make this forever, and I think that it is going to be retired sooner rather than later. Again, currently, we finally got caught up with the supply, or the demand. The supply side finally caught up with the pent-up demand which is great. But guess what? It's back ordered yet again, and probably a lot of people buying this for Christmas gifts or whatnot. But it'll be back in stock at the end of November. So, when it first came out, like I said, it was literally sold out, rock solid sold out every single day for a good 6 months or longer. So, if you have a chance to get this great set, I certainly wouldn't hesitate. And I'm going to sadly take this apart once I'm done with this review, just for display considerations. But it definitely is an awesome set, and 1,969 pieces, it doesn't really kind of fit with my rule. I said I only buy sets greater than 2,000 pieces. In order for me to break that rule, a set has to be truly exceptional, and this set is. I made my exception for this, because how can you say no to the Saturn V? Such an iconic ship, such an iconic piece of American history, and the build and the final result definitely do not disappoint. So hope you enjoyed this. Again, I didn't take it apart like some of the other reviewers do. You can go there to see that, but I just kind of like this too much to break it apart. I think it's just a beautiful overall picture of that. So until next time, take care.